Aloha, Susie Toronto here from New Smyrna Beach, Florida. I this is not a sales pitch today. I'm not showing you anything. This is part of my blog and vlogging, video blogging, and I just wanted to share some thoughts with you today. Now, before I get started, I do want to acknowledge that I understand that I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. I know that you, my friends on Facebook, feel the same way that I do about so many things. But I wanted to share my thoughts today with you just so that we can keep this idea and this concept front and foremost in our minds and even share it with friends. So my rant today is on social media. And here we are on social media ranting. So I think that social media has done a wonderful thing for us. It gives a voice to so many. It's given the opportunity for people who are shut in to keep in touch with the outside world. And how wonderful has it been during the pandemic that we could talk and engage with our friends all over the country and all over the world even. Facebook has been wonderful that way. And if used correctly, it's a true blessing. I have really loved it and been able to reconnect with so many friends in the process. But along with that, of course, is some negativity. We see so much that this voice that so many have been given, and I'm not talking about just the young generation, because Facebook really isn't about so much the young generation as it is an older generation, but it's given this voice to so many that they seem almost unaccountable for some of the things that they're saying. They are willing to rant, like I like to rant, but they'll do it on social media, and they will say and do things that they would never dream of saying in real life, or at least they used to not dream of saying in real life. You know, they complain, they judge, they slander, they accuse each other, they insult and defame and smear and slight each other. Downright hateful dialogue going on. And it's not even the most hateful stuff that's bad. There's a lot of just nitpicking and just murmuring back and forth. And, you know, as someone who is involved in dealing with the public on a general basis, and I know that I have a public face of my life that I have to deal with, I have received my share of hate mail and negativity. And luckily, I'm pretty thick-skinned, and I just, like my husband says, water off a duck's back, Suze. Just let it go. You know, those are not your people. I always say, yet another note from somebody who is not in my tribe. But people are saying and doing things that they would never have said and done before. And so I think we need to remember that old saying about if we can't say something nice, perhaps we should say nothing at all. I cannot tell you how many times I have actually even tried to stop myself, and have done it successfully, when somebody is saying something and I'll type out something, you know, that my opinion on this or whatever, and then instead of hitting send and uploading it, I just delete it. I think that's really a good thing to do. Sometimes just typing it out gets it off of our chest, but we really don't need to share it, and we can just delete it. And as I've thought about some of the things that could have really started some great dialogue, that really could have been productive on social media, things like politics, the vaccine, the pandemic, those were all issues that we were reaching out to social media in the news to learn more about. But in the process, we turned it all into a negative thing. And if you didn't agree with what I thought, then you're wrong and I'm right. And it just got this nasty, nasty, air about the whole thing. What would have happened if we would have had intelligent dialogue and been open-minded? I love that saying about how when someone is talking to you, don't sit there and try to think of what you want to say next. Instead, just open your mind, be fully present, and listen to what they have to say. Listen to what their views are, listen to what they understand, and then in a very polite, sweet way, ask questions, or, whatever. Respond in a nice way instead of in a negative way. But instead, we had people that were just, regurgitating negativity and things that they saw in someone said, or, I love the idea that when someone posts a meme about something, all of a sudden it becomes fact and they're sharing it on their page, assuming that it's real when in fact it wasn't real, or that the facts were all wrong. The other day, Saturday, I was out, I had to go to the grocery store. And so I had just come out of the grocery store and I was headed to the parking lot. So I need to tell you, one of my like big pet peeve things in life is people who don't return their shopping carts. I know that's one of like my little things, but I don't ever yell at anybody about it. But I do make sure that, whenever I'm walking in, if I see a cart that's in the middle of somewhere, I'll either walk it to the area where you put the cart away or I'll walk the cart in. So anyway, as I was walking back out of the store, the lady that was parked next to me was, I want to say about 85-ish. And she was not really strong at all. And she was putting her groceries away and she was in the spot right next to me. And I stopped and I said, "Oh, can I help you?" And she said, "Oh, no, honey, I'm okay, thank you." And so I just went to my car because I didn't want to, force it on her. So I went to my car and started unloading everything. Now, her car was actually parked in such a way that she was taking up like 1 1/3 parking places. And she was parked towards the front because I'm sure she wanted to be able to not have to walk so far. But she had not done the best job at parking. I have no doubt she did the very best job she could, but she hadn't parked real great. And so when she was all done putting her groceries away, she moved her cart into the empty spot next to her that she'd taken up part of and was using the keys to get into her car. At that moment, somebody drove by and they rolled down their window. And they started out with a line of profanities at this poor woman about taking up 2 parking places and then leaving her cart in the place. Well, I immediately, I can't let that go by, right? So I immediately jump in and say, "Oh no, I'm taking her cart back. I was the one that was going to do that. She's just letting it sit there for me." And anyway, the guy, sped off and whatever. This poor little woman was just shaken to the core. And I went over there and made sure that she was okay because she was very, very traumatized by it. And I said, "It's okay." I said, "I'm going to take your cart back and you're just fine." And she says, I almost didn't come to the grocery store today. She said, I didn't feel well, but I needed some groceries. And she says, I know I didn't park good. And she was just flustered by the whole situation. And I helped try to calm her down. And I actually told her that, there are ways that she can get around this and that the people in the store will actually carry your groceries out for you. And she says, "I know, but I didn't want to be, a pain to somebody." Anyway, she was flustered. But I tried to calm her down and, grabbed her grocery cart with mine and took them back in, right? But my point is why did somebody have to roll their window down? Even if she had been being a jerk about the whole thing, what good would it do to point it out to somebody and cause that kind of a riff? I was sharing this story with Rob here in the studio, and he was saying how he had a talk with the Boy Scouts. He serves in the Boy Scouts, and he was having a talk with 2 boys that were kind of egging each other on and starting a little bit of a rumble between them. And he said, when you allow someone else to get the better of your emotions, they automatically win the fight. And the best thing that you can do is when someone starts pushing your buttons is to just turn around and walk away. Don't engage them. Don't defend yourself. Just ignore them and walk away. And yes, it's hard sometimes. We tend to want to defend ourselves and defend our children and defend our family and defending everybody. But sometimes the very best thing you can do is not escalate the situation and just let it go. Just walk away or return with kindness. Can you imagine how awful somebody would feel if you returned their negativity with kindness? So, don't feel obligated to always point out somebody's faults and somebody's flaws, because basically we have no idea the battles that they face. We have no idea the trauma that that poor little lady had to go through, even getting herself up and dressed and in the car and scared to drive to the grocery store and park her car and do all of this. She was clearly exhausted. And, we just have no idea the battles that she had fought that day. So I fast forward that to this morning. So I'm laying in bed this morning and a meme comes across my feed, and it had to do with Dolly Parton. And of course I read it because I love Dolly Parton. I just think she's adorable. I think she's as cute as a button. And I truly love some of the charity work and some of the philanthropic work that she has done with her time and her money and her energy. And she has, I don't know if you all know this, but she has now facilitated donating 167 million books as part of the Dolly Parton literacy campaign. And so I got a message coming here. I need to get rid of. Hang on. There we go. And so I was all excited about reading about this because it starts out and says, Dolly Parton donated 167 million, not 1,000, 167 million books. And wow, isn't that cool? And then it goes on to immediately say, and yet some other philanthropic guy, I think it was Bezos or I don't know who, is sending William Shatner up into space. Well, of course, the William Shatner thing gets my attention because I'm a Trekkie. Are you all Trekkies? Because I'm a Trekkie and I, was raised on Star Trek, and I just think it's kind of cool that Shatner's getting the opportunity of going up there. And they were basically putting him down for spending the money and having this flight. And they said, in a world where you can be anything, be a Dolly. Don't be a Jeff. And I thought about that and I thought, what a horrible judgment. What a terribly horrible judgment. Why couldn't they have just stopped at Dolly Parton has donated 167 million books? Be a Dolly. I love that. Why do we have to immediately grab somebody else's name and put them down? First of all, we have no idea of the billions and billions of dollars that the founder of Amazon has actually donated. The billions of dollars that Elon Musk has donated. We have no idea. And just because we see a meme that says something doesn't mean that it's true, okay? So, we've got to stop propagating and promoting the negative things. And I have half a mind, and I may do it if I can find the same meme again, take that meme and cross out the bottom half and repost it because it really was so positive to bring to light the wonderful work that Dolly is doing. I've said it 1,000 times. If we're going to have peace on earth, we need to let it begin with us. We need to do it ourselves. We need to be the example. And it needs to be in everything we say and everything we do. So I have 5 ideas that I'm going to try really hard to incorporate into my life, and I want to share those with you. And maybe you can share them with your friends and children and neighbors. First of all, give everyone the benefit of doubt. We have no idea the battles that others are facing. We have no idea what the whole story is. And just because you hear a sentence or two on the news or you see a meme on Facebook doesn't mean that's the whole story. So give everyone the benefit of doubt. Second one, stop believing everything you hear on the news, everything you hear on Facebook and social media, everything you read in magazines and newspapers. Don't believe it all, people. The truth lies somewhere between here and here. So just don't believe everything that you hear and see and read. 3, look for the good in absolutely everything. There is good in everything. You can find it. One of the ways that I was able to get through the death of my daughter was constantly looking for the good. And let me tell you, it was hard, but I did it. And I continue to do it every day. 4, seek ways to perform service. And do it without recognition and without acknowledgement. Don't expect to be noticed for it. Now, I know that we noticed that Dolly Parton did 167 million books, but it wasn't because she advertised it. She was just doing it because it was the right thing to do. So perform service. Go out of your way every single day to do service for someone else. And it can be little tiny things. Next time you get ready to go to the grocery store, call somebody you know who's a shut-in or somebody who it's hard for them to get out and ask them if you can stop and bring them something. Offer to do something for someone that makes their day easier. And it doesn't just have to be for somebody who really needs it. It could just be a nice thing to do for someone, to share something with someone. And 5, be kind. Be kind in everything you do. Because in a world where you can be anything, choosing to be kind is the most wonderful thing that you can do. We are not perfect. Even though we try to live by godly principles and we try to do the right thing all the time, we are imperfect. And there will be a lot of things that we do in this life that we will regret and we wish we could have a do-over button for. But the one thing that you will never, ever regret is being too kind. Be kind to people who love you, but be kind to people who don't. Always take the higher ground and be kind. This is my rant for today. 5 steps on how to be a better person, make a better world, and in the process, become a better you. Aloha and mahalo nui.